Welcome, everyone, to Missing in Minutes. And I wanted to jump on here a little bit and talk about Summer Wells. And I just got home from work. I'm doing some extra jobs right now. And the word out there online, the rumor, if you will, is that Dawn Wells was arrested today. Now, nobody knows the details as of yet that I know of as to why he would have been arrested. There's no confirmation as to if it even is connected to Summer Wells. I haven't seen anything hard copy that he's arrested. Hey Becca, hi baby, how are ya? Good to see you. Yeah, I'm talking about Summer Wells, that little one. I sure want her home, boy. Just is breaking my heart. She's the one that's got me really working on the Missing in Minutes stuff. So the rumor is, and that's all we have right now, you guys, but it's a pretty strong rumor, that Dawn Wells was arrested. Good morning to you. Now, there's a lot of different things to speculate as to why someone could get arrested. But there's also the question, is he arrested by the local police or was he taken in custody by the FBI? Because that's another question I would have too. So if it was, I don't know. I know that he's been doing a lot of interviews. Allegedly, there are texts that was exchanged with a woman. And in this text, okay, I'm reading what Becca's saying. I heard if he was, it not because of Summer. Okay. Yeah, nobody knows yet, so we really don't know. I'm waiting. I felt it was worthy of coming on here. It gives me, I'll be honest, anytime there's movement related to Summer, I get a little burst of hope that, something will come of it that leads us in the right direction. But I did want to talk about some of the things that would concern me, because I don't get into family dynamics and he said, she said, that. I don't make friends with anybody that is related to the person I'm investigating. If possible, there is a bond always formed of truth, but I try to keep it where they're not my best friend, because you just never know in the case who's responsible for who. Hey, Vanessa, good to see you. Vanessa Overton's with us. She says, Duty Ron and Chris McDonough have buds in law enforcement in Tennessee, and they've both stated today there has been no arrest. Okay. Also, the person who told the aunt that he was arrested was Candace. So let me reread that. So Duty Ron and Chris McDonough, which if you guys are interested in, I'm not familiar with Duty Ron, but I am with Chris McDonough. He does the interview files. And it says, has buds in law enforcement in Tennessee, and they both stated today there has been no arrest. Also, the person who told the aunt that he was arrested was Candace. Are you talking about Summer's mom, Candace, or Grandma Candace? Because this case is so much hearsay, I can't even fathom how to jump in. So Becca Chua says, but there is a woman named Voices behind the wall, and she talks to him, or used to stop talking to him today, and she said he wasn't arrested, but he will be soon. Okay, Vanessa says Duty Ron is ex-police. All right. So I do have some major concerns that if this alleged texting between Dawn and allegedly a female is truthful, what was stated really bothered me and could be a big concern in light of what we know that took place in the initial hours of Summer missing. And so I want to talk about that a little bit. So whether Dawn is arrested or not, We will soon learn, you know. But in the meantime, while we're waiting on that information, I want to talk about Summer first. She is 5 years old. She has blonde hair. She has blue eyes. She does have some damage to her front teeth. Some trauma has happened there, according to a dentist. She is a tiny little thing. She loves Frozen. Her hair is cut very short. She could be wearing a wig. Who knows? They can change up a child's appearance. Summer is a very active appearing child from the videos I've watched of her on her swing, but she was always with family. So keep in mind that a child that isn't with their family most likely is not going to behave the same. So this child that we're looking for, we're focusing on this happy, bubbly, go lucky, swinging on the swing a million miles an hour, flopping in the water, goofing off, could be much more docile. Their head could be lowered. Just keep your eyes peeled. It causes my heart to break every time I think of the loss of not knowing where a child is. It's not even something conceivable, but it's horrifying. Even if it happens to you for a blink of an eye for only an hour, it will be something, I promise you never forget. Let's see here. We've got more information. Now, Vanessa Overton says in chat, Summer's mother, Candace. Okay, so we know who you're talking about now. So this is Mama Candy. Phone the aunt of Trish. The aunt of Trish. Who is Trish? Trish told Tiffany Marie. That's where the info came from. I think Candace was drunk and lying. Nan's Life's here. Hey, lovely. Not just female, but 17-year-olds. Vanessa Overton says, Bekachua, yes, you're right. Cher from Voices was a supporter of Dawn, and today said she was wrong. Andreas, the support him now. She was wrong and something to support him now. Vanessa, can you clear that up for me so I can understand? I want to make sure I quote it right. Undercover. I love it. Undercover 0047 at Vanessa says, no offense, but I see you in the chat stating different theories daily. It's very okay. We're gonna let everybody always share whatever they feel. You don't have to read it and you don't have to agree with it. And we're not here to fuel a fire. We're here to discuss things as we do on every case. Hi, lovely. How are you? We're going to have to get hard copy. Everything said tonight is absolute hearsay, as is everything on the net. I'll tell you, your kid's missing. Okay? I personally will trust more hard copy stuff than I am what's coming out of anybody's mouth. Because the fact that you have time to sit down and talk about your past and defend yourself when your kid's missing bothers the hell out of me. If my kid was missing, you'd have to break my kneecaps to make me sit here and tell you about what happened with my ex and all kinds of my life stuff. I don't care what you thought about me. Find my damn kid. Just keep it on the kid. So, you guys, Summer is from Tennessee. She lives in the mountains. She is, I believe, let me look on here. I'm going to check real quick and get her missing poster because I want to make sure we get the details out there. We're going to be talking about her a lot. Okay, Summer Wells missing poster. Because we all know, the experts have said, the more the face is seen, and the more that people talk about the person, get the interest going, the more that they have a better chance of being found. So it is actually an endangered missing child. This is a full Amber Alert. She went missing on June 15th, 2021. Okay? She weighs approximately 40 pounds. She's about 3 foot tall, just like any little girl. She definitely has blonde hair in what we know. Keep in mind, people can dye these children's hair. They can put wigs on them. They can put hats on them. She could be dressed as a little boy. I mean, if this child has been abducted, that could be going on. So keep your eyes for kids that don't seem comfortable with who they're with. Think about the fact that, you know, her little teeth or something, they're not going to be able to mess with. So if the child has damage or trauma to her front teeth, even if it's a little boy, if that kid has blue eyes, I would pause if that child looks uncomfortable. I'm just saying. I mean, we're really looking for a little girl. My concerns are that if that, I'll come back over to chat, if that alleged conversation happened where Don was allegedly talking to a female about money, okay, so it was now I'm paraphrasing. He was talking, and I don't even know if this was a legitimate conversation that ever happened, okay? This is all rumor. But if it did happen, that would have been true, and Don spoke about borrowing $50,000 from drug cartel and only paying back $30,000 or $20,000, the first thought that comes to my mind is Don, on the very moment that he's at his home and Summer's missing and law enforcement is there, he has stated it several times. He wanted to go talk to the drug dealers and they would not let him go. That he was worried about that situation. That would make sense as to why the man would be fearful immediately that his daughter is abducted. Think about it. If you have a child go missing in the middle of the woods, we all know that you can tell a child not to steal the cookies out of the cookie jar before supper. You can try your damnedest, but it doesn't guarantee they're not going to steal the cookies. They may just do it. So we can't guarantee that Summer did not leave that yard. I can assure you, I've raised 4 of them. 4. I'm Auntie Danny to a lot of little kids. Yeah, I also have special needs training and taught preschool. Let me tell you, there is absolutely no guarantee this child would not have wandered off in the woods. The first concern I would have had is what they had already voiced as a concern, which was the wild animals. That would have been my very first concern immediately. Didn't matter how much I trusted the kid. If that child was not in the basement where she had been left, I would have immediately been concerned that wild animals would be, because not only is it my first concern because they've been talking about it, how they don't go on walks, even though dispatch is reporting that the mother went for a walk. The mother went for a walk, right? We've all heard that. So the fact that the father immediately jumped to the conclusion, and I call it a conclusion because he has not left that. He drew a line in the sand that someone had abducted her. So he drew a conclusion instantaneously almost that this child had been abducted, as did the mother. So now we have to look at it and go, why would that be the first thought? Well, hell's bells. We all know that drugs and sex trafficking go hand in hand. And cartel are nothing to mess with. And it sounds like a far off mystery or fairy tale or nightmare, whatever you want to call it. I don't know how to explain it. Sounds like it couldn't really be happening. But if that alleged text turns out to be real, that is my very real concern now, is that Summer could have been abducted by somebody that had been on the property picking up payments and seeing a little girl play all the time. If you get my drift. So if you've borrowed money, you got to make payments. How do we know? Because Don goes on and on about all the kind of unsortlies that show up there that are all affiliated with drugs. And I'm talking hardcore drugs, serious, scary things. People aren't right in their mind when they're on that stuff. Undercover 0047 says, RD, I'm worried. I bet it's safe to say most of us have never saw any case of chaotic and odd as this. Tensions are incredibly high. Don should have kept his mouth shut unless he was talking to the police. This is insanity. My concern is this too, okay? Every time Don runs his mouth, I fear he puts that little girl more in danger if she is abducted. Because if he is legitimately speaking the truth about these drug cartel, or if he really did say that and he that comes out, she is then an extreme liability to them. So he mentioned, Nan's Life says he's mentioned on live YouTube, check Mexico. Okay, keep it friendly, guys, because there is a timeout to cool y'all off. Now, every single person, just like in the Stephen Avery case, can have their own opinion. Half of us believe she's alive. The other half of us believe she is dead. And we all get along with that. I get that right now, you're like not as Undercover states, tensions are running high. This is a child. This gets your heart racing. It does get us fearful. So we have to just, remember and be respectful to each other, be kind, because we're all needing each other to help find Summer. Each one of you has a place in finding these missing children. You have eyes, and I'm sure you talk about it to family and friends and so forth. And I'm sure it's easier to digest to family and friends. They might even be relieved that at this point you're talking about something besides the Avery case, to be honest. According to Vanessa Overton, Candace said in her interview with Chris at Waterhole that Dobbs and Tawny Hammonds were there that day. I don't remember that. Could be true, but I don't remember that. I may have to watch that again. Undercover 0047 says, you have to read between the lines of what people say, Psychology 101. Well, you got to be careful not to assume too much, too. I mean, we can sit here and theorize all night, but that's not going to get us no closer to getting Summer home. But I do have major concerns the more drugs are spoke of in this case when it pertains to a missing child. Our average watch time right now is 3:33, and we have 60 playbacks, so that's pretty damn good. That's getting 60 people out there looking for Summer. They already are, probably. I have no doubt. When it comes to the things I think about with Summer, is there anything that they would go out of their way, anything unique about Summer in her diet? Because there could be something where they have to go somewhere, whoever would have her, to buy something specific, but I can't think of anything. So I've been trying to rack my brain. Like, what, besides like scouring, the thing is this child could be out of the country. It's just horrifying to me. And it's really weird, like the fears that go through a parent's mind, I'm sure, is that your child would be in a tortured position or something. And so I totally get where Don's coming from when he says all that. But the fact that he won't leave the abduction theory, he has not wavered from the get-go. It draws me to question, does he have fear that the drug cartel have snagged her? Is it possible that he's right? I mean, his instinct was to risk his own credibility by telling the police, hey, I got to go talk to some drug dealers, dudes. And you think, well, while who would say that to the police? Well, if your baby's on the line, you don't care what the police think. You need to be honest at that moment. And I can't say he was honest or not, but I can tell you the fact that that's the first place he wanted to go. And with the alleged statements of owing money to the drug cartel, I'd like to get that validated if it's true and find out how overdue is he. How overdue is he? If that's really the truthful, and it's just alleged. Now, Undercover 0047 asks, why did the grandma leave? You know, I've thought about this too, okay? And I walk both sides of the coin. But let's see what you guys think. Why do you guys think? Ooh, Becca, she says she feels that it's possible Summer may have been trafficked or may have wandered in the woods. Why do you guys think Grandma left? And then I'll give you my opinion. Okay, so Nan's Life brings up that Grandma apparently went to help an ill sibling. Well, from what I heard, my research showed that the story went, because it's all hearsay, it's just people talking, right? We don't have police reports like we do in the Avery case. So, is that the sister, her husband, so it would have been like a brother-in-law, had a medical condition, possibly a heart attack, and she went to be with her during that time, which was actually in Illinois, not Wisconsin. Okay, you guys. Vanessa Overton says, Chris, who was there when you got home? Candace. There was nobody there. There was, my mom mentioned a blue van across my neighbor's house, but I just figured she had company. What about the boys? I thought they were home. 3 boys were home alone. Yeah, Undercover 0047 says, and the way he talks about it, it's almost as if he's giving them a clue. I think he's given a cry out. I think he's absolutely not wanting to trigger the cartel, if that is possible. Well, it is possible. It's highly possible. But I'm sure he doesn't want to trigger them. But at the same time, he wants to make it clear he feels very strongly she has been abducted. And dogs don't lie, but we don't even have a dog report to go off of. So we have 2 different stories from my understanding. Just from my own watching Mom and Dad talk, I remember Candace saying that the dogs tracked down the driveway. And then I remember hearing Don say that he saw the dogs track down the dog trail. So we don't even have dogs to go off at this point. 4:04 on the average watch time. So it's a matter of basically just let's keep working on the case. Let's try to keep things as straight as possible. We do have a few facts in the case. We know that at 3:09, the milk video was made where Summer is sitting propped up against the milk in the back seat. It was somewhere after 12:30 that they picked up the prescription. That could be verified. So those are the 2 things that we do know in the case. I will say this. If something did happen to Summer inside the home, the boys must not have known or had any idea of it, because they have been removed from the home and they were in separate locations and they were questioned by specialists. And we didn't see any arrests come out of that. We didn't see anybody told to come in for more questioning. So I do feel that the boys do believe this story to be true. Nan's Life points out that Candace or Dawn also stated that Summer did go to the end of the laneway before. Now, Undercover 0047 says, Grandma is the best witness. Maybe the pain is too much. Grandma hiding something? I have severe anxiety disorders and just cannot be the center of attention. But I couldn't shut up if it were in, and then they ran out of room to finish. I will say, if you'd went through losing your daughter in 2009, which was Rosemarie Bly. So Rosemarie Bly was 21, I believe, and she went missing in 2009, and that was Grandma Candy's daughter, which was also Summer Wells's mother's sister. So Aunt Rose Marie Bly went missing in 2009. So is it possible that Grandma just got triggered by this whole thing again and couldn't take it? Like, maybe she just can't handle this. Bekachua says, I would never leave the area if my child went missing. I know. I wouldn't either. I'm just asking you guys. I mean, I have a wishful theory, if anybody even cares to hear it. It's a wishful theory. I call it that way. It's when all the chips are down, you wish for the best outcome. And for me, Summer was reaching the age of 5 years old. There's been a lot of talk about, and in this case, I'm not talking about Steve Avery, so make that clear. There's been a lot of talk about SA, okay? Revolving around the family lineage, okay? I'm not getting into the he said, she said drama. There's just been a lot of speaking of it. So, is it possible, and I'm just saying, this is my wish at the situation, is that somebody had extreme concern because Summer was getting at the age to where she was getting out more in public around church, she was due for school, that Summer spoke to someone about something and they grabbed her to protect her. Is it possible that Summer was put into, by family members, put into a protective place that later Grandma slipped off to be with? I don't know. I'm only wishful thinking, I'm sure. But it's all I got right now because there isn't a lot in this case. We could sit here all night and talk about all the family members that are tearing each other apart. And it's heartbreaking because that is not helping Summer, you guys. What is helping Summer is us talking about Summer. Talking about the things that she would possibly, like I said, keep in mind. They could have this child dressed as a boy. They could have this child dressed with a wig. They may have, but you got to remember there's certain characteristics about the child that they aren't going to be able to repair. And the teeth, because Summer has damage and trauma to her teeth, including one tooth is partially broke, according to the dentist. These are what you look for. If you think it, pause it. Even like if you are curious, somebody's walking with their kid, maybe you could say something like, "Oh, aren't you cute? Let me see you smile." And then you could see the teeth too, to see. And I wouldn't say a word to that parent. I would keep an eye on him, and I would call TBI, 1-800-TBI, find immediately if you felt that was her. Who cares if you're wrong? If you really have a gut feeling and there's something that triggers you about the child, whether they're male or female, if they are fitting the description of about, 40 pounds, 3 foot, and you get a gut feeling that this looks like this child, call them. That's how people get found. Well, Vanessa, that might be something that was said. But I'm going to read it because everybody's entitled to say what they have to say. So Vanessa Overton says, I have text messages from friends of Jeannie's, Candace Well and Rose Blythe's sister, that Jeannie was drunk and blurted out at a party that she killed her sister and put her in a barrel. That who killed her sister? That Jeannie did it? Or that Candace did it? See, I just can't. I can't, you guys. She could have said that Santa Claus brought her Hawaii if you're drinking. I mean, it's just all hearsay. I don't want to get into it. Nan's Life says, Summer could be anywhere, including in isolation or transportation unseen. What do you mean, Becca? Becca Chua says the whole, you know I love you. It's just weird, like he's gaslighting her. I don't know what you're talking about. Somebody help me. Undercover 007 says the house has ways in it and out where, being boys, they would likely not have noticed, especially if any of them playing video games. You know what also concerns me is that the parents continually, both of them, make statements about the, how do I want to put this in a stronger way? Let me think this through. I don't want to say it wrong. They put the responsibility of Summer in the boys' hands. And then in the next interview that I watched, Summer was having to hold her own against the boys quite frequently. That, to me, it's like you already know you have a bull and you own a china shop. So wouldn't you make arrangements differently or something? Wouldn't you realize that, it's 3 against 1? The boys, you know how boys can be. They can gang up too, and they can be like, no, you won't. Yes, I will. All right, we're at 4-4-4. Boys can get to this kind of stuff. And boys have been known to not even know their strength and just give a shove. Or boys can chase, girls can chase, kids can play. We have an awkward staircase. I don't care who you are. That is the awkward staircase. I watched that video where Chris McDonough goes through that house. It is terribly awkward. They might as well have just made that a slide. Now, my concern is that kids playing kids like to run around like crazy, especially when parents aren't around. How many times have every one of you been told as a child, stop running in the house, right? Somebody's going to get hurt. That bothers me a lot. So I'm going to tell you my impression is, I intuitively, my gut keeps telling me Summer has had a fall. I just strongly feel this child took a fall. I really do. But that's my personal opinion, and it doesn't help find Summer. Becca Chua says Don was on Cher's channel recently, and she asked him if he had anything to say to Summer, and he said, Summer, you know I love you. You know I do. What? Okay, that's bizarre. That's almost as if, I was expecting, if you're going to have a chance to talk to your missing child, I'd be like, Summer, if you're watching this, dial 911. Do not hang up the phone. I love you. We're going to find you. We will find you. Wouldn't that be it? Dial 911. It's almost like they're, it's not like Don has fully admitted that he's having a hard time holding on to hope, and he has from the very beginning. If it does turn out that that's not just alleged, if that turned out not to be rumor, that there is a drug cartel that he's paid $30,000 off and still owes $20,000, we have a big problem, Houston. We have a huge problem, Houston. It just terrifies me. So, I want to talk about some safety here, you guys. This isn't the only case. We're seeing children disappear out of their own front yards. Michael Vaughn also disappeared on July 27th, right out of his front yard. Guess what? Michael Vaughn fits Summer Wells' description. I kid you not. Blonde hair, blue eyes, about 40 pounds, approximately 40 pounds, about 3 feet tall. Yeah, you're so right, Becca. Becca Chua says, it's like he did something that he knows she would question his love. Oh, that's such good insight. That is exactly how that made me feel. That's like after you have to, let's say you have to discipline your child. You stick them in the corner. What do you say when you feel bad for them? They're being punished. And it's almost like you would say, well, I love you. You know I do. Right? You know I love you. So, does he feel, is it possible that Don Wells, and I can't imagine as a parent how this would feel, I'm not going to try, but I am going to ask, with that statement, is it an inflection of possible concern that he is worried she is being punished for something that he feels guilty for? Just a question. I'm not fueling nothing. I'm just making you think a little bit. Good point. Undercover 007 or 47 says, this is the first case I haven't felt or had ideas of what happened. Yeah, Becca Chua says, like it's stuff abusers say in my experience. Yeah. Narcissistic people will say that after they've, taken the rug right out from under you, they'll turn around. I love you, right? Undercover 007 says, in my opinion only, it's possible an accident happened and Candace couldn't or wouldn't call 911 because she was intoxicated, didn't want to lose the boys. Hey, Sheila Smokey, I want to know what's in that shed. Which shed? The funky shed? Or the shed that is right on the property near Summer Swing? Gretchen, you can't make that pillow you can't dig a hole through it. She misses that other baby. We lost Maya, you guys. So that's been hard for me to sleep. I go to bed exhausted, falling asleep in my chair because I don't sleep well without her. And then I reach over in the middle of the night. She's not there. I wake up and then I can't go back to sleep. Near the swing. Yeah, we never did really get to see much in there. I mean, if I remember right, there was still stuff in it, so you couldn't really look around. There was like plastic over stuff. So I want to talk about DNA. Anybody else for a DNA? I mean, let me grab a tea, and then I'll be back in 2 seconds. Yeah, Becca Chua, Maya, our little snorer, was accidental collision with a car, and it was instantaneous. I was there within 1 minute. I was working 2 blocks away when I got here. She was still warm to the touch and gone. I mean, she was hot to the touch. So I took some comfort in knowing that her body was that warm and she was not in any pain. She was gone. It was over. There was no suffering. It was blink of an eye. But it has It has ripped my heart in two. I remember Becca. Becca lost her Luna. Okay, guys, I'm going to go grab my throat kind of as a raw. So I'm going to go grab my tea. It's across the other side of the room. I'll be right back. Yeah, Sheila, we lost our fur baby. Okay, I'll be right back, guys. Ouch. Bumped my knee, too. Oh, Lord, it's not. It's cross. Oh, yeah, I found it. So, I find some things very interesting when it comes to, let me grab a drink. I find it very interesting that with this case going on, it just bothers me the most that the story that's being given from the get-go was an immediate that everybody unanimously in that family felt she was abducted. It just... Why? Oh, okay, there was another thing that bothered the crap out of me. And this is hearsay. Everything we're talking about tonight is hearsay, you guys. There is nothing hard in this case. Nothing. You can't count on one thing. Sheila Smokey says, in her opinion, seems like the father knows more and blaming Candace. Yes, undercover. Very much bad pain with the puppy. 6-year-old little Maya, born on 9/11. Named Maya for MIA. So, when you really look at it, the timeline's askew. That's a big problem. Because if we start the day off at 8 o'clock, and we're leaving the swimming hole, and we're picking up a prescription at noon, and then all we do is drop Summer H off at his mother's house, it's not 3 hours to get home. It's just not. So they go grocery shopping, they're in there in an hour. There's still 2 hours missing. All right? We go get a Slurpee, there's an hour. It's still not an hour to go home. There's time missing. So, the fact that the timeline is askew, no matter what they say, that timeline is askew. We can then know that we have missing minutes. And in those missing minutes, why the whole point that they are askew tells us that we have veered off the path of truth, or we are admitting a truth. There is something more to the story, no matter what, because the timeline is askew. Because of that, it really draws into question that at 3:09, what is the condition of the child? Another problem I have, and I've said it from the beginning, is this child is only 5 years old, and it's state law that should be in a car seat. These are people that are talking about drinking, and they're talking about drugs. I guarantee you, they're going to be wearing seatbelts because they're not going to they're not going to want to get pulled over by no cops. So why is this child, where's her car seat? Now next, when they went to find Summer, now I'm not sure if this was a scent dog or a cadaver dog. You guys can give me that information if you will. But they gave the shoe to the dog because Summer's car seat did not exist. It's gone. With a missing child and the car seat's gone? There may be a very easy explanation why that car seat's gone, but not a very easy explanation as why it wasn't replaced when it's state law. And the reason it's state law that these kids be in car seat till they reach, 80 pounds, double her weight, is because in light of an accident, they can be killed in the wrong car, in the wrong setup. They're too small for the seatbelts to work. I'm not as concerned about the seatbelt that's half on or pushed around the back of her, because kids do that. Kids do move their seatbelts around. And you got a good point. Undercover 0047 brings up the fact that they're adamant, the parents are adamant, both of them. Summer would never leave the yard. Summer would never leave the yard. We've tried to scare her. We've tried to teach her. Well, tried is a good word. But that does not assure anything. Now, there's another rumor. Like I said, everything we're talking about is rumor. But I do have concern when I hear rumors that someone said that a channel interviewed Grandma Candace by text messaging. However, then another YouTuber got word or something from Grandma, and she said that wasn't her. But yet, the texting came from Grandma Candace's old account. So who in their right mind would have hacked Grandma Candace's old account and tell the same damn thing that Grandma Candace is always saying? One thing this one person said, if they, it was allegedly Grandma Candace in this texting, but one thing that was said in that texting really has me perplexed, because if it is true, it changes this entire case. And that is that Candace came up from the basement hysterical, screaming. And then I thought of the neighbors hearing screaming. I'll tell you what. If you found your child not breathing, your neighbors would hear your wailing. I assure you. Undercover 0047 says, we all know these sex offenders escalate. They stalk their victims. Candace apparently would get high not know where the kids were. I've heard that through the H, and his mom said that, but all of this is hearsay. Why stress in an interview that Grandma gave Summer candy? Okay, let's talk about candy. First thing you teach your kid about a stranger. Come on, you guys, help me out. What's the first thing that everybody teaches little kids about strangers and danger? Not to take candy. Right. Exactly. Yet that's all we have in this case. It's almost like they've been fattening up this kid with candy. And now we're going to talk about candy and how Summer gets candy. Every single night she gets a bag of candy. Grandma's given candy. Grandma's name is Candace. Mom's name is Candace. Half-sister's name is Candace, which is all a nickname for candy. I'll tell you what. Go look up candy recipes online. Candy is directly related to S.A. It is a terminology used by those that are looking for eye candy, looking for sweet, innocent things. If you follow my drift, I don't want to get banned on YouTube. But it bothers me that candy is all over this case. A lot. And that the parents are adamant that she's been abducted. You're not annoying at all, Undercover. Not at all. That's actually funny. If anybody's annoying, it's me. I'm always the one talking. I can read you guys the stuff. I wish you all had mics. It just, yeah, I want to go back to the screams. So let me tell you, if your child went missing, I've had it happen. For 1 hour, I was missing my child. I didn't scream, except his name, over and over again. But I'll tell you what, if I would have found my child not breathing, my neighbors, I don't care how far they lived, would have heard me screaming at the top of my lungs. Now, interesting enough, we do have neighbors that right from the beginning, I found that out too, I was corrected. From the beginning, Candace stated that the neighbors heard screaming, possibly muffled after a moment or so. Well, why would a mother come up from the basement screaming? Well, but what if it's not Candy? Thank you. Thank you. Okay? I mean, Candy that I have physically seen it. I actually was almost jokingly going to eat it one time. This person I knew had a little thing. It was pretty fat looking, little Tic Tac. And they handed it to me. You want one? That's all they said. You want one? And I was at I was like, no thanks. I mean, first of all, it came out of the person's pocket, unwrapped. I'm not going to eat something like that. And second, I didn't see any more of them. And I said, no thanks. I said, what is that? Ecstasy, they said. See? So, and then you have to look at it. Well, Grandma's got her prescription filled in the morning. Could Summer have mistaken pills for candy and eaten a whole bunch of pills? I mean, there's so many things we could sit here all night and go on. But this little girl is 5 years old. She has blue eyes. She has blonde, short hair. She could have a wig on. She could be dressed as a little boy. She weighs approximately 40 pounds. She's 3 foot tall. She has damage and trauma done to her front tooth. Actually, both of them look pretty rough. I want to talk about a little good news here. Maybe it'll give you guys hope. There was a little 4-year-old autistic child in Minnesota that went missing for a few days. She was found safe and sound. How? By everybody looking for this kid and getting her face out there. There was a little boy that was recently found too. I went to list him up as I was going to do a little story on him to get him out there. And I always research to see where the case is sitting. And when I come on this channel anyway. And he had been found. And I was like, oh my God, it's working. We just got to know. Think about the Jamie Kloss from Wisconsin. The teenager that both parents were shot. And she was stolen. Over 80 days, she was held captive. And then escaped and wandered out onto the road where a woman was walking her dog and got help and escaped. So you guys, keep your eyes peeled. We're still looking for this little girl. Could be anywhere. Anywhere in the United States, anywhere in the world. We have people all over the world, though. That's what's amazing. And so take a really good, strong look at those beautiful eyes, because the lay we know of the face is not something that can be changed. That little button nose there, it's kind of squatted out to the sides. Look at them little dimples. She got a little crooked smile. You see that, how her bottom teeth kind of twist a little bit? In most of her pictures, she has that. And she's got a cheesy smile. So you can see them little teeth right away. She's got a very beautiful complexion, rosy-cheeked. Vanessa Overton says, or did Gran get her meds? Call from Don Dobbs and a guy there trying to touch the boys, Tony H., to buy the meds. They get home. Tony mistakes Summer for a boy. 2 days later, he tries to abduct 12-year-old. It's possible. At this point, until something's proven, we have nothing to go on. But I will tell you, there are a lot of concerns about all this talk that's going on. It needs to be about Summer, okay? We need to find her. If it's relevant, like screaming, yeah, that's relevant. That's relevant. At this point, I would like to say that we cannot throw the book at anybody because nobody even... We don't know. Both these parents, for all we know, they could be 1,000% right. This child could be fully abducted. It would be... Okay, another theory. The boys like to go down to the creek, right? Dawn has stated in an interview that they always all go together or in pairs. When Dawn retraces his steps, as he calls it, gets in his car and he says, we turned here, which is a very strange statement. And he goes down there at the creek. He says, I saw my boys. They were all 3 together down at the creek. I looked over and he points to his left, past that cotton blind. And he says, I saw my neighbor. And that's when I knew something was terribly wrong. Okay. How could you say that? How could that be the moment that you discovered that there's something terribly wrong? If you've beat the cops home and you've already called 911 dispatch. It almost made me feel that that is when the decision, I'm just going intuitively, my own opinion, nothing more. It almost is like the horse before the cart. When the parent knows there is something terribly wrong is when they call the authorities. I don't know whether Don was at work all day or not. I don't know if the boys went to work with him or if they really stayed home. I don't know any of that. But I can tell you, the minute that you see a neighbor, and that is the second that triggers you to know that something is very, very wrong, why would your neighbor trigger you? That concerns me. I really do feel that it is very possible that we're really looking at, to be honest, if that's true, if Dawn actually does have a loan out with the drug cartel, that's a horrific thought to connect to. Horrific. Who puts... Oh, I'm not going to say it. No. I'm not going to draw judgment. It's not my place. No. Not going to say it. Undercover 0047 says all the cell phone data is back. They know where everyone was. Who is this neighbor, you guys? See, that's bothered me because why would a neighbor? They should be there. Now, I want to tell you something. My family comes from a Baptist ministry. And my neighbor are my church members. Is it possible I'm just asking the question. Don't want to offend anybody. Is it possible that Summer was abducted and that in panic, Candace called Robin? Because if when he pulled up, he looked over and saw his neighbor, his church neighbor maybe, Robin, that's when you would know something is terribly, terribly wrong. Good point. Undercover 0047 says, I'm not trying to be mean, but these people aren't criminal masterminds. Yeah, it's difficult. When it comes to Summer, she's 3 foot tall, approximately 40 pounds. She has the bluest blue eyes. They just twinkle. She has very short blonde hair. When I say short, her head was shaved and just a little bit of growth was starting. She could easily be in a wig. She could be dressed as a boy. She does have the most noticeable fact about this child is she does have tooth decay as well as trauma, like an actual partial break of that front tooth. My concern are that these are also baby teeth, so those could all come out too. And then you don't even have that identifying marker. What does that mean? He posted missing children on FBD. Facebook, I don't know. I do feel there's a lot of problems with the storyline, okay? The timeline is askew. We are missing substantial time. We really are. It's a hot day, number one. I checked the temperature. It was over 80 degrees. Over 80 degrees. Summer is in a jacket. She is fully clothed in a shirt, pants, and a jacket. There is no AC in the car. Mom and Grandma go into the store and buy enough groceries, according to Mom, that it required the boys to unload them. H reports it was an hour-ish, right? Just saying. Hot car. How is that child not covered in sweat in that picture? She should have sweat on her little face. That bothers me. There is no sweat. Sheila Smokey said, Grandma said she wasn't sure if Dawn was at work all day. We don't know if that was Grandma yet. We know it was Grandma Candace's Facebook. But Grandma Candace has never spoken out that I know of. Undercover 0047 says, on Facebook every day, then his little neighbor goes missing. He never posted about Summer. That day, he rented a motel and changed his appearance. So it's very hot. We've all had children. When it is over 80 degrees in a car, sitting in a parking lot, and you have a jacket on, a child, their face gets flushed. Their hair starts showing signs of sweat. They get little beads of perspiration under their eyes, around the edges, around their nose. They become warm. If you're wearing 2 layers in over 80 degrees in the back of a car, you should be sweating. There is no sweat on that child's face in that picture. And according to Grandma Candace, that is very close to home. Or no, Mom Candace said that was, 5-10 minutes out? And they kept saying the car was so hot. And Candace herself, Mama Candace, says they have no air conditioning on. Vanessa Overton says, workmates of Don's have stated they saw him at work, but not for the entire day. He could have come home early. You know what? Is it possible that 911 call may have actually come in after Don got home? He may have come home early. You got somebody that is drinking. We know that because Dawn said after Summer went missing that she's even trying to quit drinking now. It really bothers me that it's possible that she drank at that river and then drove. All right, guys. Well, I don't know if it is true or not. I was hoping one of you guys could tell me if Don Wells had been arrested. According to everybody on this channel so far, it is confirmed that he was not arrested through messages, but there's really no way for us to know until we get actual knowledge. I mean, he either was or he wasn't. But I'm not here to... I literally was asking that. Has he been arrested? So... For those of you that are spiritual, say a prayer tonight. Ask for the highest well-being of Summer Wells. I was going to talk about DNA real quick before I went. So, if somebody did abduct her, why wouldn't their DNA be on that property? I mean, they had to have laid in wait. They're not going to wait out in the middle of the road down there. And where do they put their vehicle? Leave it on the road where everybody can see it, abandoned, get the license plate because there's an abandoned car out there? Where would their vehicle have been put? Doesn't matter what road. If you would have left your vehicle on the side of the road out there, somebody could have just stole it. Or the chances of you getting your license plate recorded. So where was this abductor's vehicle, number one? Vanessa Overton says, Don Wells has not been arrested according to Duty Ron and Chris McDonough, both ex-law enforcement. I believe that. I'll take that. So, but yeah, we got a chance to get your face out there, Little Summer. So, if somebody happens to have this on and they happen to have this child, Summer, dial the 911. As soon as you get a chance, get a telephone and dial 911 and say, Summer Wells, I'm here. I'm Summer Wells. I'm Summer Wells. Just keep saying it. If you have the chance to escape, you run. Don't believe what these people are telling you. Find an adult. There are safe houses. You can go to if you got away, go to a bank. If it's daytime and stores are open, run into a store. Undercover says this individual, I'm going to put that part in there, fed the dogs daily while he watched from the woods. Could have. Is the U.S. Marshals involved? I heard that they are. Makes me wonder if there isn't something to do with drugs. Don's one, the first thing he wanted to do was go talk to them drug dealers. Why do you feel that way? Why are you adamant, and your wife adamant, that she's been abducted? Will do. So Vanessa Overton says, excuse me, Chris McDonough is doing interview in 24 hours with more info. Make sure you watch. Will do. I'm actually going to tag him on this. Yeah, Pierce, I want to get the name right. There's a gentleman that's been sharing our stuff over there on his channel too, from Missing in Minutes, and he's been working on the Summer Wells case. We've kind of been tapping each other's back on this, and I wanted to get his name for you. Hold on just a minute. He has a channel. He emailed me and asked if it was okay that he's sharing some of our actual video. I said, of course. I said, don't share the whole video. Share the parts you feel are important, you know. And he's a very kind gentleman. He's very respectful. And he's doing a damn good job when he looks at these cases. Pierce Jackson. Jackson Pierce. Yeah. Jackson Pierce. Yeah, he's a real nice gentleman. I liked his approach. He privately emailed me and actually asked permission. He also tagged us, and on his channel, when he throws up the video of ours, he literally runs a banner at the top that sends him our way for subscribing, and puts our name up there in lights. So I thought that was very, very kind of him. So give a shout out to Jackson Pierce if you haven't had a chance to look at his channel. I feel he does a very, very awesome job. So, yep, you guys, I love you very much. Stay alert. Look for this little girl. Also, please keep your eye open for Michael Vaughn from Fruitland, Idaho. And not that it matters now, but he did have a little Minecraft shirt on. Just tugs at my heart. So let's find these kids, you know. And, you know, always pay attention. If a kid seems like they're uncomfortable with the adult they're with, pay attention. You might see something that hasn't even been reported yet in those few minutes. Or if you see anything like that, don't be afraid to step up to plate. These kids are vulnerable in a world where I get worried they're like little sitting ducks, you know. They're getting plucked out of their own damn yards. Keep your kids in front of you. Keep your eyes on them. Please. I don't want to be looking for your little one. All right. I love you guys so much. Thank you, Ella. Ella Childs. Good night, everybody. All right. You guys have been wonderful. I have the best family here. You guys just really dig in with your heart every time. Love ya to the moon and back. See you again real soon.